The forthcoming season with the Scottish Ensemble is one of the most exciting ones we've done, I feel. We're starting off with this Shostakovich Baroque pairing, and we're very lucky to have the wonderful Alison Balsam on trumpet and a very talented up-and-coming Scottish pianist, Alistair Beatson. They're going to be playing together in Shostakovich's Concerto for Piano, Trumpet and Strings, which is a work we recorded quite a few years back. And the ensemble is going to do the very famous Chamber Symphony by Shostakovich too, which is an extremely powerful, somber, autobiographical work, very harrowing in parts, but just an extremely powerful experience all round, really. And these are two works that we recorded about 6 years ago, and I really felt I wanted to kind of revisit them and sort of put my own stamp on them, and they're just brilliant, brilliant pieces. Sometimes I think I'd really like to work with this person or this artist or whatever, and that's the starting point. Other times I just hear something on the radio in the car, I think, oh my goodness, this is brilliant, we've got to do this, and so that's the starting point. We've got a very exciting commission by Thea Musgrave coming up in December. It's her 80th birthday celebrations this year. Born in Scotland but lives in America now. She's written us a piece just for the group. It's called Green. I've actually seen the score and it's really exciting, and it fits neatly into this all-American program. The most familiar work in the program will be doubtless the Appalachian Spring by Copeland. And we're doing another great string piece by John Adams called Shaker Loops, which is really rhythmically driven. It's tremendously exciting, very difficult to put together, actually. And that then led me on to another crazy idea that popped in to my head, which was to do Steve Reich clapping music. And I've always wanted to do it ever since I first heard the piece. And the idea is we come back after the interval, so people sort of welcome us back onto the stage, and then we walk on with no instruments and we clap back at them. So that's the pattern, which is then repeated about 12 times with the two groups doing the same pattern. One of the groups starts doing the pattern slightly earlier, and it creates a sort of very, very peculiar out of sync kind of feeling. And so you get these incredibly exciting rhythmic patterns, which is kind of quite hypnotic. Pekka is wild and exuberant, but they're qualities that I think absolutely fit in with the group. You know, we try and be different and exciting and dynamic. I mean, he's further down that road than we are, and he can be because he's on his own, and he just does his own thing. There's no script. You never know what's coming with him. Actually, I remember once during the Four Seasons with him, I was playing in the orchestra, and by the time we got to autumn, so there were still, 2 seasons left, he had broken every single hair on his bow, and he didn't have time to even sort of take them off. So you had this kind of wild sort of explosions of bow hair all the time, and then he was just playing on the wood in the end. It's very fresh and irreverent. It makes you see things in a way that you never thought were possible. Of course, we're not forgetting our core repertoire is there, and we don't want to give it up. So the next season we have a wonderful Mozart divertimento, and we've also got Tchaikovsky's Serenade, which is one of the great staples of the string repertoire. We've got a very early violin concerto by Mendelssohn, which he wrote when he was, I think, 13, a remarkable piece of music. And we've got some Baroque, well-known Baroque works, Corelli, Albinoni, and Bieber. Now, the Biber, again, is the Baroque with a slight difference. It's called the Battaglia Symphony, and he wrote it as a depiction of battle, actually. Soldiers before the battle, getting ready for battle, going to fight, and then the kind of aftermath. It sort of all goes wrong because they all get terribly drunk before going into battle, which is probably not the best thing to do. But so there's one of the movements where we're all imitating sort of bellowing drunk soldiers, and it's quite a sound effect. February tour, we've got a new commission by very witty and wonderful Austrian composer Kurt Schwertzik, with Colin Curry playing marimba. Great piece by Stravinsky, which is always, again, very unexpected. And a piece by Peter Sculthorpe, who's an Australian composer. Very exotic sounding music, inspired partly by Aboriginal music from the outback. And then we play something very familiar, some Mozart. But of course, we always try and do our own take with familiar repertoires. But it's always about bringing something familiar to the audience that they've heard before, but we're going to do it our own way, and then introducing things that for sure they will have not heard before. And I think that's what they enjoy, that feeling of, well, partly we know what we're getting the Scottish Ensemble, but what's going to happen during that concert is often unexpected, and we really thrive on doing things on the spur of the moment, and I think that's what our audiences really appreciate. It is risky. That's absolutely at the heart of it. If you don't take risks, it's dull, essentially. So we take risks. The group we're all very supportive of each other, because you need support in order to take risk. You need to really feel that everyone's behind you, and then that transmits over into the concert, and the audience, I think, can really feel that, and it makes them feel part of it.